Right now, we're on the line with writer, director, producer Kryshan Randel, and winner for his film Jack this past week at the Bloodshots 48-hour film contest, awarded Best Script and Best Murder Scene, and the Audience Choice Award for Best Film. Thanks for taking the time to do this interview.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we mentioned awarded Best Script, and Marilyn Thomas wrote the script for this film. Yeah, an all-star ensemble, 4-year crew. I was wondering if you can go over who else was involved, the ADs and the producers
we
and
had
writers.
a big crew. I mean, we had almost 40 people, so I was really impressed with every single member of our casting crew. A lot of them I hadn't worked with before, and one of the reasons I do contests is to keep challenging myself to work with new people, especially people that are very experienced or have different, backgrounds or different varieties of talents they can bring to the table. I had Zach Lepowski doing some of the editing and visual effects, and he was a great addition to the team. Amazing director of photography, Ian Kerr, who's done some gorgeous-looking features and TV work. The cast was great. I hadn't worked with any of the cast before, and I worked with Trevor Carroll, who was one of the actors, but not as an actor with him, just in different capacities. But no, it was an amazing casting crew, and I couldn't have been happier with the people that I was working with.
Yeah, Kryshan, you've been involved with, you've participated in many film contests and actually ran your own 24-hour film contest. But what was it behind your decision to be involved in this year's Bloodshots film competition?
Well, I actually hadn't made a short film for a while, especially a horror film, and I've been writing some features and also reading scripts and looking at bigger projects to make. And I will be making features soon, but I hadn't made a short in a while, and I really missed doing something horror-related and sort of missed doing a contest. And there's also a bunch of people that I wanted to work with, and contests are the best way for me to start working with people. And it's trial by fire, really. And I just had it in me to make another horror film. It's a genre that's really a lot of fun for me, and somehow I feel even more excited when I have an extremely tight deadline than when I have more time and more money, at least with that genre. It really forces me to be creative, and I usually learn more in a weekend than I do in a month or two of my regular life whenever I'm doing these things. So I always feel like I have a lot to learn, and I'm always willing to challenge myself. And I saw that experience firsthand when I was running my own events. So, yeah. So that's a few reasons why.
Yeah, actually, you've segued and answered part of my question. There's many film contests around town, and that you have been involved with before, the 24-hour film contest, the Vancouver one, and then the Whistler 72-hour film contest. But you say there's something about horror, the horror genre, the Bloodshots film competition that, I don't know, is it stimulates you, inspires you? What is it about this genre, this contest that quenches your creative juices?
Well, I like the horror genre because it's a lot of fun to make these kind of films, and I like I don't like every particular kind of horror film. I liked usually the more character-driven kinds, or psychological horror, dark comedy. I don't always like necessarily all the slasher stuff and the monster stuff. Although in this case, I did kind of make a campy B-movie style film, and I like some of those films as well. But I just think if you have an idea, you can push it further, and you can, if you're angry about something or you have a point of view about something, you can push it even stronger in a horror film sometimes than you could in necessarily some other genres. And I don't know all the reasons why I like the genre. It's fun. It can be cathartic. You can go crazy with your imagination.
Yeah, the script was written by Marilyn Thomas. She's also been involved with many other projects and features. So, just to delve in a little bit of, you produced and directed this film. There were some issues. The content of the film dealt into a little bit of mythology, and then there was the scene at the end that really seemed to push the boundaries, even within the horror genre. That's a matter of opinion, but so to convey all that, what was initially created in the script, and then you have the actors there. So how do you bring everything together to have that cohesive package where seeing the end result we did that night at the screening?
Well, I have a bit of a formula when I do these things. We write the script Friday night, and then shoot all day Saturday, and then edit all night Saturday night, and then Sunday morning is picture lock, and then the rest of the day is visual effects, color correction, finishing music and sound, all the things that are done after picture lock. As far as the writing process went, Zach Lepowski came up with the idea for the film, and Marilyn wrote it, and I woke up in the morning and was happy with the script and started shooting it. And Marilyn and I do have a twisted imagination and sense of humor, I guess, and we do like to push the boundaries. I'm always fascinated by the idea of horror iconography and trying to create an image or a scene at the end of a horror film or at the end of I guess any kind of intense film, really, not just horror, but drama or sometimes even comedy. Creating something visually that people will never forget and that they haven't seen before is something that really interests me, and I'm always striving to get to the story to a point where you hit the climax and you see something that's equivalent to the chest person you see in Alien, or the shower of pig's blood in Carrie, or several scenes in The Exorcist, and something that has that kind of power. So I really try to do that with this film. I don't necessarily want to give away the end, but I felt like Marilyn's imagination and Zach's imagination helped bring me to that point where I could try and create something like that at the end of this film. But we also wanted to have fun and not take it too seriously, and make something with a fair bit of comedy in it, as well as the horror and the drama. And so I was kind of inspired by Evil Dead and Dead Alive and some of the horror comedies. Some of the previous horror films I've done have been maybe a little less comedy. Well, actually, I guess it's been a good balance of straight horror and comedy horror. But it was great working with Marilyn as a writer. She wrote most of the script in about 4 or 5 hours, which is kind of incredible. That she could just sort of bang through that quickly. And she came up with the mythology, and she came up with the characters, and I just tried to bring it to life on screen.
You achieved your goal. The image at the very end is something I won't forget. A lot of people won't or can't forget. The ovation. I remember being. I was there for the very end of Jack's screening at the Anza Club, and there was a very loud ovation at the end. And talking to a few people, they were saying like how it was something innovative. But initially, when you were creating, your whole team was coming up with the ending, or even you're kind of driven to create something that will have a lasting impression. Do you ever let that apprehension enter into the creative process, or you totally discard it and deal with it later, of how maybe the ending, not to give it away, might be pushing the boundaries too far? Like when that enters your conscience in the creative process, do you kind of fight it or throw it to the side or kind of deal with it?
No, embrace it. No, if I feel like something is about to go too far, or about to maybe get uncomfortable for people, or push them out of the comfort zone of what they normally watch. If it's a horror film, then I embrace that possibility. I think that certain kinds of films there should be very few limits to what you see on screen with at least certain kinds of films in the horror genre. They're a reflection of your craziest dreams or craziest fantasies, or, you know, revenge aspects to you, or darker aspects of your psyche, or wish fulfillment things, or, I mean, all kinds of reasons why I think it's a good part of cinema, and that it can be an art form, and that, you know, you can break new ground, and yeah, I mean, I like I said, I try and come up with endings for some of my films, at least the ones in the horror genre that are groundbreaking, that ideally people haven't seen before and that they won't forget. I also like to make and watch hopeful and inspiring films, and you know, lighter films. I certainly don't just want to make horror films exclusively, but I do appreciate and respect the genre, and when I do work within that genre, I like to try and go as far as I can go into, you know, imagination, and yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of directors that push the limits, and a lot of times they do it intelligently, so they're not just going for shock value, like David Lynch or Roman Polanski or Nicholas Roeg or you know, Stanley Kubrick, and ideally there's some intelligence there. In the case of this film, I wasn't as worried about making this smartest film in the genre, and more just a campy, fun B-movie, which I haven't quite made anything quite purely like that, I guess. So this is a little bit different than some of the stuff I've done. But I still think you can do things creatively and intelligently in that genre too, you know, like, yeah, like, I don't know, Gremlins or Evil Dead, or, yeah, Dead Alive. There's certainly a lot of room to be creative and original as well.
If listeners would like more information on how to see Jack, is there a link they can go to? And on any of your other current or upcoming projects, is there a link or a website they can go to?
Well, my personal website is KryshanRandel.com, KryshanRandel.com. And Jack is on YouTube, but I'm going to take it off soon because I'm actually going to do a little bit more work on it and then send it to festivals. And as long as it's going to festivals, I don't want it to be online. And I want the cut that's going to festivals to be different, not completely different, just a little. I want to spend a little more time, mostly on the sound and the music, because we were starting to run out of time to do everything that I wanted to do near the end there. And then eventually Jack will go back online. I'd love to sell the new cut at some point, or either way I'd like to put it back online, but it might not be for a year or so. But a lot of my other short films, including previous Bloodshot films, and all kinds of other films and projects are on my personal website, KryshanRandel.com.
There you have, listeners, the link, the website. We're just talking to producer for Jack, that won Best Murder Scene and Best Script, written by Marilyn Thomas, and awarded the Audience Choice Award for the Best Film for the Vancouver Film Competition. And you got the link for Kryshan Randel's link to his website. He's involved in many projects, many features around town. Thanks for your time. It's been great to delve into this film. Really, it was very interesting. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I'll talk to you soon.